Then I found a way. A research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. I earned cash for the study and bought those season tickets. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
It's time to go one-on-one with DP. Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios. Here is your host, Derek Pearson. Presented by Beatrice Bakery on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. One-on-one with DP. Unfortunately, no DP, actually. It's still me. I'm sorry you're stuck with me for another hour. And I am actually joined by my good friend, Jake Bakoven. Bach.
Hey.
What is up, man?
Oh, it's a little early for me, but I guess it's not too bad.
Oh, the people love you. It's fine. You'll be great.
Yeah.
You know, you're always over the drive time. So let's give the earlier morning people some Jake Bakoven.
That's right.
One-on-one with DP is brought to you by Beatrice Bakery. Go to beatricebakery.com. Get yourself some delicious cakes, liqueur cakes, breakfast cakes, fruit cakes, all that fantastic stuff at beatricebakery.com. And also head over to theticketfm.com, click on the Beatrice Bakery tab, and nominate somebody who you believe deserves a Beatrice Bakery gift basket that we here at the Ticket can put together for them with some amazing cakes to make somebody's week, or to make somebody's week even better. You can go to theticketfm.com, hit the Beatrice Bakery tab, nominate them, put in the reasoning for it, their name, and we will make sure that we get some delicious cakes to them. I think today is the captain's turn to give away cakes, but the captain is going to be at Wingstop following us down at 28th and Superior. So stop on by there and talk to Vershawn Jackson and whoever his guests may be. I'm not actually sure right now. I'll have to go check. I think he posted on Facebook, so I'll have to check on there. But right now, it is Bach and Rico one-on-one. We've got tons to talk about. The Lakers were eliminated from the playoffs officially last night. Opening day for MLB starts tomorrow, except for our teams who are actually going to play on Friday because of inclement weather. And Nebraska's spring game is coming up this weekend. So we're going to start with opening day. We're going to go to the MLB. Bach is a Red Sox fan.
That's right.
I'm a Yankees fan. Opening day is official tomorrow. The Yankees and the Red Sox have postponed their game to Friday because of inclement weather. Bach, how excited are you for baseball after like 2 months of not knowing if baseball was even going to be played?
Well, it kind of flows right in with at least the end of college basketball, right? I mean, there's it would have been nice to get it going, as usual, but it's not too much later than it was supposed to be. Like you said, postponement here kind of delays it a little bit, even an extra day for us Red Sox and Yankees fans. But I'm excited. It kind of lets you know the official. It's kind of like turning the sports calendar, right? It's all right. There's still the NBA playoffs, but we're gonna have Major League Baseball here for several months, and basically that's the marquee, And there's going to be NFL draft and NBA draft, and like I said, the finals there and stuff. But this will get us going through the summer months, and it's exciting to get all the way, back into those feelings of looking at weekend rotations and, just following which guys. I always like the beginning of the year, start worrying about a guy that's only hitting 200 for the first month. And you go, what happened to this guy?
He's only has 5 hits in 30 base appearances in 5 games. I don't know what's happening. He's broken.
Yeah. So, and then you start to worry about the deterioration of your best players, or you get on a run. I love the teams that have the early run. There's going to be some surprise team that is way ahead in the standings. I just didn't see
it's going to be
coming.
The Royals. It's going to be Bobby. It's going to be Bobby Witt is going to just open up this season and proclaim his stake for Rookie of the Year. And the Royals are going to be like 8 games above 500. Like a month into the season, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh wow, are the Royals good this season?" And then they're gonna go on like a 30-game losing streak. It happens it's fine. It's gonna happen.
That did happen last year.
It's fine. We're gonna hear it from our resident Royals fan, Jake Sorensen, and he'll be very sad about it after his Miami Heat get eliminated in the second round of the playoffs, and then his Royals are garbage, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great for everyone involved. That's what I'm looking forward to.
It's been a few years since the Royals have been too good, hasn't it? I mean, you have to go back to 2016 since they've had an even record. So it is they're about due. We say
Are they? It was like 20-some years. It has to be like 20-something years before the Royals are good.
That's true.
That's how that works.
I guess if you're going off Royals history, you got about 15 more years to go. But I'm just going off small market teams. It's about time to believe that you've been doing something behind the scenes there, and you've got your young crop coming up, and maybe hopefully Witt Jr. will be a big part of that. And that's the other thing is that you get to look at the new prospects and see who's going to live up to the hype and who's ultimately going to melt in the majors, because it's tough to make it up there.
Yeah, you're excited for the farm system to actually get up to the majors and do something big. But look, man, Bobby Witt Jr., I didn't watch him live, but I know I watched a bunch of highlights when he was with the Storm Chasers for what seemed like forever. An unnecessary amount of time. The Royals should have brought him up way earlier, but the kid can play. So I'm excited to see what he can do. He finally made the opening day roster, and he's got to be the favorite for Rookie of the Year, at least in my mind. So we'll see what happens there with Bobby Witt Jr. and the Royals. But we've got Crowbait on the text line showing us the White Sox logo. It looks like garbage still. I don't think it's ever been good. But your Red Sox, some offseason acquisitions. Trevor Story, are you excited for Trevor Story in Boston?
Well, yeah, they got to get some things going. I mean, they were kind of surprising last year that they were any good to begin with. But they ended up being pretty darn good. Yeah, I think Trevor Story will be helpful there. I don't know. It's kind of weird too, because they made their little run and then they kind of got rid of some of those players that were kind of just signed specifically for that run. So it's hard to say if they're going to be able to keep it up. But I'm excited just to see it. I usually get really into baseball once the playoffs come around, and if the Red Sox are in the playoffs, then I never get really into baseball. So they have to at least make it there for me. And that's a good. You can only do that. That's a privileged franchise. I understand. You can't do that with every franchise.
It's okay. I'll get into it with the Yankees for about a month or two, and then I'll kind of fall off not off the bandwagon, but I'll fall off really paying attention for a while until the playoff race starts heating up and they're either clearly in the playoffs or close to not making the playoffs. Then I'll get really invested in the Yankees again. So we'll see what happens. And if Giancarlo Stanton can make, I think me and Nick have a bet that he'll get injured under 16 games into the season. So we'll see what happens there. The man can't stay healthy, but it's completely fine. But so the MLB season starts tomorrow. The NBA season is coming to a close. We've got the playoffs pretty much all sorted out. I think there's a couple more seedings to be had. But in the West, the big surprise, well, two big surprises, is the Spurs make the playoffs and that the Lakers are not going to be in the playoffs after all of the offseason acquisitions, getting Russell Westbrook, getting Carmelo Anthony, re-signing Dwight Howard, keeping Taylor Horton-Tucker, getting rid of Alex Caruso. Everything that the Lakers did this offseason, and you still think, if they have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they'll be fine. Turns out Anthony Davis only plays about half of a season nowadays, and LeBron James, hey, surprise, he's old and his body is slowly falling apart.
But he's close to the scoring champion. But I don't know how much fantastic. That's on LeBron, yeah.
But I mean, he missed a couple of games here and there, so that's
right,
that's just age showing. But this Lakers squad was put together with the thought of, you have LeBron, you have Anthony Davis, you can pretty much drag anybody to the playoffs. We're going to sign a bunch of veterans who know what it takes to win, and we'll be fine once we reach the playoffs. The regular season is whatever. Turns out regular season still really important because you have to win to make the playoffs. They missed it. LeBron James is shut down for the season. Anthony Davis is finally back. They still can't win. Is the LeBron James era in Los Angeles coming to a close?
I don't think they have much of an option because there are other pieces that they could get rid of to have any cap room to do anything. I don't think anybody wants. Nobody's going to buy Russell Westbrook at this time. I don't even know if he's selling tickets too much. If you're a downtrodden franchise, Anthony Davis is still young, but like you said, is almost, if you sign him, you almost expect him to miss half a season.
Yeah.
So I don't know if are they going to have any suitors for those kind of larger contracts that that they're just stuck with, and LeBron's the only one that's there. Came out recently that with Magic Johnson go ahead and saying it that they could have had DeMar DeRozan instead of Russell Westbrook, and how things might have looked different for the Lakers, not just this year, but for several years to come with that group. That it is what it is, but it's also awesome for us fans that don't like the Lakers, don't like to see them. At the same time, I say this all the time. I like the Powers to at least be somewhat relevant. I would have liked to cheered against the Lakers in the postseason and watched it all come to a collapse. This year, just and you thought that you might be able to do that for the play-in game, but they're not. The only reason they're in contention for this thing is because of the play-in games. They're 31-48.
They are not good.
That's awful.
There's
terrible. No reason why that should even get you a playoff spot. You mentioned the Spurs are going to get in at 34-45 over the next seed. It's like, all right, you earned your spot.
Yeah.
We don't have to, you don't have to approve it. But
I feel like the play-in tournament should be, I don't know how feasible this is, but available at the end of the season.
yes.
But if you have your 9 and 10 seeds with just abysmal records, and if they're not even close to the 7 or 8 seeds, or even, if they're just that far under 500, like the Spurs are right now, like, you shouldn't have the play-in tournament. Because right now in the East, I think the Hornets are the 10 seed, and they're 40-39. So that's perfect for the play-in tournament. I like that. That's great. But the Spurs, like that shouldn't be a thing. I think it should be available. And again, I don't know how feasible it would be, but have it being available. But at the end of the season, you can decide, okay, we're not having a play-in tournament this season because these teams just aren't good.
Yeah.
And I mean, it would suck for the Hornets because they are good. But if you take it away from the West, you have to take it away from the East. You can't have them playing extra games and what have you towards the end of the season. But yeah, that's just not great. I am a fan of the play-in tournament, but this is just bad.
Yeah, and I mean it's ultimately just fun, and it's the 7 and 8 seed, and usually that's not going to mean too much. For what it's worth, the Nets are going to have to probably play in this thing, and that could mean quite a bit if they get in.
There's
or
some
if they
tanking
don't, right?
going on in the top seeds, trying to avoid the Nets. So we'll see how that goes.
But so ultimately, I guess it's not that big of a deal. I agree with you as far as like it being completely fair. It's kind of silly that the Timberwolves or the Nuggets are going to have to put up with the rest of these teams and get it done. But at the same time, again, it's the 7 and 8 seeds, so just kind of extends some fun. But I don't know. It
should dispatch of them.
Yeah, I mean, you play all these games. You play an 82-game regular season, and then 10 of the 15 teams make the postseason in each conference. I don't know if I like expanded playoffs continuing almost across all sports, where it's like, let's just get more teams in, and it's more money, it's more fun. But it just it devalues the regular season, which I know you don't want to talk about college football in that way. We got our disagreements there, but
yes,
I maybe one of the few, I suppose, that could care less. Most people could care less about devaluing the NBA regular season, but I just feel like maybe there's a little bit more of kind of an earn it factor when you have 10 teams have a chance to make the playoffs. Like, just don't be. That's what it is. Like this year, just don't be awful, and you'll get a chance at the playoffs.
If the Knicks were in the West, they would maybe make the playoffs. Like that's how bad this play-in tournament is, at least for the Western side of things. And I think it kind of takes away this play-in tournament, and all the talk of it kind of takes away from the top seeds and what they're doing. Because honestly, like, I've been paying pretty close attention in the NBA. I didn't know that the Phoenix Suns had 63 wins.
Oh yeah,
I saw it yesterday. It's that they either tied or broken the franchise record for most wins in a season. I didn't know they were at 63. That's amazing. They're having a fantastic season, and Chris Paul missed about a quarter of it after the All-Star break because he had to have thumb surgery. Like, what Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton and Jay Crowder and everybody out there in Phoenix is doing right now is amazing. And if for some reason, if the Lakers were to have made the playoffs and they ended up being the 8 seed and played the Phoenix Suns, that would have been a fantastic matchup, and I would have felt terrible if the Lakers would have beaten the Suns. I feel great because obviously for Melo, but the Suns have put in the work despite missing their second best player for a quarter of the season. And if they were eliminated by LeBron James, I would have felt awful for them.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much. If the Lakers like slid in, they'd probably get swept in that series. But again, that would be at least entertaining to watch the Lakers' plans kind of crumble. They just didn't hold up their end of the bargain, and now it's weird to look at the Lakers And just kind of what's happened in the LeBron era. Like Frank Vogel altogether is probably going to be let go. He won a title, but the other years there have been just so disappointing. And
did we expect more from Frank Vogel? Did people actually expect more from Frank Vogel, though?
I'm not sure.
Like, you saw what he was in Indiana. Like, you really thought that he was going to be better in LA? Like, no offense. Like, he's an NBA coach. I will never be an NBA coach. He's not that good. Right?
Yeah.
Like, am I wrong in saying that? Like, he's not that great of a coach that you just because you paired him with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you just assumed, oh, they're going to win, 4 championships.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was the home run hire necessarily. And remember, if you remember that time, I mean, they were going around hiring or like interviewing everybody.
Yeah.
And it just hey, I guess
nobody
Frank will take it.
Yeah, like nobody wanted the Lakers job. It was so
Yeah.
weird. And now there's talks of when Frank Vogel is let go, because I don't think it's an if, it's a when now, whenever the season is over. They're going to go after Quinn Snyder, the Utah Jazz head coach, who they can't hold a 20-point lead to save their lives for some reason, and Doc Rivers, who's going to go back to LA, but the other LA franchise in the same building, but whatever, it's different colors. Didn't he just get hired in Philly? Like,
Yeah.
What is happening? Are those two coaches going to leave those successful franchises to go to the Lakers with an aging LeBron James, a glass bones Anthony Davis, and a roster full of misfits that nobody else wants? And yes, I'm including Melo in that.
Well, it's true. He's just a little bit older at this point. That's what I think. I mean, I agree with you. I don't think so. I think that this is the early reports of who the Lakers are targeting. That's fine. And the Lakers should. I mean, they're where they are as a franchise. You should always target the top coaches because maybe it is a dream job. So maybe there is something there for Quinn Snyder or Doc Rivers. But I'm going to go ahead and assume that those guys aren't going to leave their positions for the Lakers. Now, there is some talk about if things don't go well, it's the NBA. If things don't go well with your star players, you blame the coach and fire him. So the 76ers are going to need to make that locker room work, right? And we'll kind of see if that's they could just flame out of the playoffs quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that they all just kind of turn on Doc there. And he's already, in one loss this season, blamed it pretty much on James Harden. So is that, is it?
Well, Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey were the reason that they won last night. They went off like James Harden. I don't even know if James Harden is playing right now. Like, I'm confused. I don't pay attention to the Sixers. I don't care for the Sixers at all. They're in the same division as the Knicks, so whatever. The Sixers can go lose every game for all I care. But it's just a weird situation because you get a Doc Rivers. He's a Hall of Fame coach, right? I'm not wrong in saying that. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He's had his struggles in the playoffs. But you pair him with a generational talent like Joel Embiid, a generational talent like James Harden, and you expect, at least an Eastern Conference Finals appearance. And, it hasn't happened yet because they just got James Harden, but it's getting less likely the more that this locker room seems to splinter, and Doc Rivers is at the center of it. He's the head coach. So is it his leadership style that's doing this, or is it just the players' attitudes towards each other or towards him that may cause Doc Rivers to leave Philadelphia and head to LA? And then in Utah's case, Quinn Snyder, I think he's been a solid coach. I mean, he led them to a 1 seed 2 seasons ago. They've been extremely solid year after year, making the playoffs with Quinn Snyder. But now, after the whole Rudy Gobert being the first player in the NBA to contract coronavirus and spreading it throughout the Jazz organization, and Donovan Mitchell being upset with him, and all of the talks of what happened in the locker room there. And now you might lose Donovan Mitchell. I guess it's kind of like you said, if the star player wants to leave, you try to keep them by getting rid of the head coach. So maybe that's what Utah's going to try and do, but I think Donovan might already be on his way out.
Well, there's just a belief, at least there, at least whispers around the Jazz that obviously their two stars don't get along. I think there's a stat going out that like Donovan Mitchell passes to Rudy Gobert twice a game. That's not assist, that's a pass to Rudy Gobert. So he just doesn't look his way too often, and that's your two stars. So that's not ideal. But
I love it.
But yeah, it's kind of fun there. I always regarded Quinn Snyder as one of the top coaches. Just because of what he's been able to do there in Utah. Those guys are stars, right? But they're not superstars. And they have their strengths and they have their weaknesses. Like
you could say Rudy is because he's been like a 2-time defensive player of the year,
right.
But at the same time, like the only thing you think of Rudy Gobert is blocking shots. Like he's not an offensive mastermind. He doesn't have fantastic footwork. He's not going to post you up and put you in a footwork clinic underneath the hoop. Like, he's just
doesn't stretch the floor.
He's just big and there.
Yeah. So I don't know. They're honestly thinking about blowing it up, and whatever that means, who would stick around of the three of those guys? I don't know. I don't necessarily see it. If I'm Utah, you're a small market team. It's not a free agent destination. Some people would argue you don't want to live in that purgatory of being, anywhere from the 3 to 6 seed every year. What are you going to do better, Utah? Like, how you're going to have to draft? And that's, if that's your out, it's going to be hard to do it, because then you're going to have those few years where you're going to try to tank basically and lose attention in the small market. And then, the draft is a crapshoot at times. You might get the number 3 pick and you pick the wrong guy. It's so. I
mean, you got Donovan Mitchell at 15 or something like that. So
I think it would be wise to keep Quinn Snyder around. But I always regard Quinn Snyder, like when the Duke job came open. He's a former Duke guy. I thought, I can go after Quinn Snyder. That's the first name I think of.
You have to throw a lot of money at him. NBA money's pretty good, but I mean, why not? I mean,
Duke's one of the few universities I think could probably do it.
I think they probably have NBA money.
Yeah,
being a private institution and being that good at basketball might help you there a little bit. But up next on One-on-One, I think we're going to dive into the spring game, talk about a little bit there, what we hope to see, what we think O'Shawn Mathis might take away from the spring game, if we believe Nebraska can truly get the star pass rusher, and much more right here on One-on-One on 93.7 The Ticket.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. In boys soccer on Monday, Lincoln Pius X fell to Lincoln Southeast 3-1. Fremont's Leighton Jepson had 1 goal and 2 assists, and Braden Kramer had 2 goals. Lincoln Southwest shut out Fremont 4-0, and Waverly won over Norris 3-0. For the girls, Lincoln East dominated Grand Island 10-0. Lincoln Southwest shut out Fremont 6-0. They came out the gate strong, scoring 4 goals in the first half. And Norris beat Waverly 5-0. Kennedy Sullivan led the game with 2 goals. In baseball, Lincoln Northeast lost to Kearney 10-7. Nolan Smith for Kearney went 3 for 4 at the plate with 4 RBIs. Cody Brous had a good game from the mound with 8 strikeouts for the Rockets. Lincoln Christian won over Maxwell St. Pat's 9-0. Lincoln East just got past Fremont 1-0. Jalen Worthy had 11 strikeouts in the win. Ralston beat Lincoln Pius 10th 7-4. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Have you ever wanted to build a catapult? Have you ever wanted to launch something other than water balloons with a water balloon launcher? Do you want to be a national champion? Then you need to get a team and sign up for the National Avocado Launching Championship, May 21st in North Platte. That's right, the National Avocado Launching Championship is taking place right here in Nebraska. Launch avocados for fame and glory. Sign up at avocadolaunching.com. That is avocadolaunching.com. And remember, the top prize is $5,000.
An Empire Fence is an investment in your home. This year, use your tax return to make that investment. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and security while improving the appearance of your home. Visit empire-fence.com to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home. With your tax return on the way, schedule your project now. Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence.
Yo, it's the captain, Rashawn Jackson. Join me this Wednesday at Wingstop at 28th and Superior from 11 to 2 for Husker Sports Talk and, most importantly, wings. That's Wednesday at Wingstop at 28th and Superior, the official sponsor of the captain. Order wings ahead at wingstop.com. See you there.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
I have a proposal. You do not have to buy me a cap if we find the fight song I'm talking about and you hum it into the microphone.
What if I don't know how it goes?
Well, we'll find it. Yeah, that's it. Good job, you found it.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
Shopping for new flooring is different today.
getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit OakStreetCarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
Oak Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Southeast Community College is training tomorrow's workforce today with our nearly 60 career and technical programs. We are doing our part to help employers fill vacancies during this current labor shortage, graduating students with skill sets employers are seeking. We're also helping to upskill the workforce by adding short-term credentials like certificates in many programs so that employees can get retraining quickly. Learn more about upskilling with SCC at southeast.edu/academics. SCC, your path to possible.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels and Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels and Joe. Back to One-on-One with DP, presented by Beatrice Bakery on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. One-on-one, second segment here of One-on-One with DP, with actually no DP, with myself, Rico, and Jake Bachman joining me here in the station, or here at the studio, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. You can get a hold of us. Send in your text to the Starter Heyman text line, or give us a call, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. You can check out our beautiful smiling faces on the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We're on there. You can leave a comment. We can throw the comment up on the screen so everybody can see it. So be nice, or I'll show how mean you are by throwing your comment on the screen. I'll do it. Don't test me. I'll really do it. But guess what?
Expose you.
But guess what, everybody? On this date, back in 2013, the world was introduced to Jack Hoffman as he went into the spring game for Nebraska and ran himself, I don't know exactly how, a very long touchdown in the spring game.
60-plus yards, I think.
Followed by his tiny little legs, followed by the entire Husker team. And it was just a great moment in Nebraska spring game history. But that is actually on this date back in 2013. Where were you?
I was
April 6th.
leaving Memorial Stadium. I left.
Wow. But right before this?
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
That's typically what I do for spring games is I'll go and watch the starters. And then I don't even remember what I probably took my girlfriend there or something, and maybe she wanted to go home. I don't remember exactly what happened, but usually I'll get, I don't have to stay till the end.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? It's not like I'll miss an SB winning moment or anything.
Yeah.
I might as well just leave. And then there it was. But you know what? I'm still happy it happened. And it taught me a lesson. Stick around.
I think I was at my grandma's house. I think I was watching the spring game on TV, and I was like, wow, that's cool. But in reality, I had no idea what was going on. And I was like,
Yes.
why is this little kid running? And then they're like, it's Jack Hoffman. I was like, oh, got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
That was
Understandable.
That was a string of memorable games. The next year was the Cat.
Yeah.
The year before, it got rained out, and everybody got free runs and Valentino's on the way out. That was it's kind of weird how you
Nebraska
start
spring
to
game
remember.
moments.
Yeah, it's weird. I start, you can put all these together and be like, you know what? I did go to plenty of spring games here.
And now this year, it might not even it might not be a game. It'll just be an even more glorified practice.
And wasn't that 2014 or 15? They did the same thing where it was offense versus defense. I think I can't remember.
Probably. I don't know. Honestly, I'm putting way too much thought into it, and I'm getting upset for no reason. Like, it's fine, but I wanted something to be mad at, so I'm going to be mad at this. But it's fine. Like we can talk about this. Like it's, you're protecting the players. Like there's injuries. There's definitely more injuries than they've let on and they've let us know about, because if you can't field 2 teams, there's more injuries than the ones that they have told us.
Well, that tight end room they've told us is pretty rough.
Yeah, the tight end room is done.
I don't know how. I mean, it's going to be 4 wide. You're not going to have any tight ends out there.
So you're protecting the players. You're making sure nobody gets hurt any more than they need to be. It could be a couple of nicks and bumps and bruises here and there, but if you rolled your ankle and it's not serious, you still don't want to throw them out there. It could get worse, what have you. If you have a shoulder stinger, you don't want that to get worse. So it's protecting the players, and I actually have no problem with that, but I'm going to be mad about it because I can be, and there's nothing anybody can say that will change my mind. I'm going to be mad about it, and you're just going to have to deal with it. But the spring game being even more of a glorified practice when you're bringing in recruits and a big time transfer recruit in the 6'5" frame of TCU pass rusher O'Shawn Mathis. What does this do to the possibility of actually swaying him from a USC, from a Texas, and he's from Austin, and from an Ole Miss? Like what can Nebraska do to get him to commit, not today, but to commit to Nebraska and bring his pass rushing talents to the Big Ten?
Well, what they always said is just get him to Lincoln, right? You got to at least get him on campus. So that's the biggest obstacle that you're ever going to have with the player. And then they've got him here. So, I mean, you can show him, I'm sure he's believing the same thing everybody else believes. I'm going to go up there. There's going to be a bunch of cornfields and a football stadium. And then, so, I mean, I think that is going to be big to begin with. It's interesting because I think maybe you're overthinking this, but I've already thought about it. It's like, do we want to see a lot of pressure on the quarterback? Do we want to see not a lot of pressure on the quarterback so he thinks he's the missing piece? Or do we want to look like they're coaching that, they can line him up and get him some sacks?
That's what I always thought, like with practices and with the spring game. Like, how do you take anything good away from it? Like, if there's a lot of pressure on the quarterback, is that, the defensive line is really good? Or is it, oh my gosh, the offensive line is terrible? If the quarterback's lining up the secondary, oh my gosh, he's such a good quarterback. Or, oh my gosh, our defensive backs are terrible. Like I've never understood how people like get excited over one thing or another, because it's like, oh wow, this running back had a great spring game, and I'm like, yeah, but our run defense was awful.
Well, and it's just especially this year. I mean, the defense is just peppered with players that will be contributors, and a few guys are sitting out. We've already talked about the offense that basically don't have a position available to them at tight end. Offensive line is the biggest concern, I suppose, from last year. You're missing 2 of your pieces that you expect to start of the 5. Mm-hmm. So it's just going to be hard to really take away anything, especially from this spring game, just because of all the injuries. But I hope that they can do some things to make it fun. Somebody texted in the other day, and I thought it was somewhat true, is that the feeling the spring game, and maybe this is just around the country, not just at Nebraska, but it almost feels sometimes like it's just a responsibility that the coaches have to go through. It's not necessarily something they're excited about. Obviously they can't show much because they don't want to put anything on tape. But
that is something I also am annoyed by. Like, just run plays. You're not throwing your trick plays out there. You're not going to be throwing, like, you have more plays than you're going to run in the spring game. Like, you are fine. Keep it vanilla. Keep it vanilla and throw in a couple of plays here and there. But guess what? If they have, your favorite pass play on tape, who cares? Just run it better.
Keep in mind,
just be better. Like, it's not, if this play works for you and that's why you call it, why are you afraid that somebody's going to be able to stop it? Like, you should be able to keep running. Wisconsin runs the same play over and over and over. Yeah. And you know what? Everybody knows what's going to happen. You know what they do? They block better, they run better, and they still beat you with it.
But especially this year, you've got, a new offense coming in. It is kind of a big question mark of what it's going to look like. So I don't know. I don't know if I mind them withholding too much of that, or playing, doing most of the plays they kept from last year already on tape, bring those over to the football field for the spring game. But keep in mind, Brett Bielema won this dance last year when remember the whole odd versus even front thing. They ran the even front, so Nebraska prepared for that, and then there was an odd front and threw Nebraska off. They could never recover, and Illinois wins that game in week 0. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy, but that's directly from the coach's mouth. So sometimes I am astonished by what they are willing to tell us,
And what
they
they're
were
not willing to tell us.
They were willing to tell us that. I was like, I might
Like
have
you're-
kept that one to yourself. I think
You're willing to tell us that you were not prepared for an odd front against Illinois, but you can't tell us who the starting quarterback's going to be. Sure, makes perfect sense to me.
I think it's South Florida. Who had like 2 wins last year, and they are not even streaming their spring game in fear that somebody would scout them, though they're leaving it open to the public, and so anybody can get in if they really wanted to scout them.
I would set up with a camera and just record your spring game.
Yeah,
You
stream
can't
it.
stop me.
Yeah, put it on YouTube.
Yeah, but like, oh my goodness, are coaches one of the most paranoid people on the planet? Like head coaches of like college football teams or NFL, like super paranoid. Like everything, they move sidelines because people could steal their signals. What? Are you really concerned about that?
Stealing signals is a real thing. Check baseball over there. Baseball is finally accepting technology of all things to try to
What?
stop
Old
stealing
people
signals.
and robots.
Yeah. Baseball's been fighting off technology for years, but now that the sign stealing is such a thing, I think the news came out the other day that they've been working with some sort of technology to kind of prevent it. So, I agree. I mean, most of them, there's not much probably to take out of it. And again, you can just run your base stuff. I don't know how many complete secrets there are as far as like looks that you're going to give. Because as much as we talk about it, a lot of these plays just kind of everybody has them. There's only so much you can do.
You could just go watch Pittsburgh's offense from last year and kind of get a feel for what Nebraska might be running this year.
And again, you're not like, this is what Nebraska is going to run this year if they didn't have tight ends. So what the heck does that mean? Right? I mean, they're going to have tight ends. So
they've got Nate Borkacher starting at tight end, and no offense to Nate Borkacher, but he's not Travis Vokalek.
And is that the guy that wasn't? No, that's they have another guy they just brought over from the defense to play tight end, right?
Yeah. Like it's just they have guys who, and you have James Carney, who you brought in. He was a pretty highly recruited tight end out of Norris. You have AJ Rollins, a highly recruited tight end / defensive end out of Creighton Prep. Like you have guys who you're going to have play tight end later on in their years, and it's good to get them experience right now. But for this season, they were not going to be really in the plans. At least in my mind, they were not really going to be in the plans. So running an offense with them is totally different than running an offense with a Travis Vokalek or with a Thomas Fedoni, with a Sir Chancellor Brewington. Like,
yes,
it's totally different. So whatever offense you're going to run with those guys is not going to be something that really anybody's going to look on tape and be, all right, we have to watch out for this Nate Borkacher guy. He's a really good tight end. And then it comes to the season and be like, wait, where is he? Oh, he's 4th string. Like, come on.
Well, that's what the spring game's all about, though. Is getting really excited about some 4th stringer, and he'll get a run with the ones. So that'll maybe help out. But I do. I mean, we can mock it, and make fun of it all we want. We can talk about the sales not living up to the traditional amount, all that stuff. I'm excited for some football. I'm excited to see some of these new faces, and to me, that's part of the surprise of not having as big a ticket sales right now. You got a new quarterback, you got a new running back, you got new, you just got new players, wide receivers everywhere.
Got new defensive backs.
It's going to be a very different looking team than last year. And you get your first look at it this Saturday.
It's going to be a little weird because there's going to be some people with some numbers that you're used to having different last names on them. And you're like, that's not right. I was going to wear 13 on the defense. That's going to be my question.
I am always a little bit embarrassed about that too. Is like, I don't want to say embarrassed, but like it's an adjustment period, right? Because you would just watch a whole season, everybody's number, who's coming out on the field. If you followed as closely as we do, obviously, and I'm sure many of you out there, is that you could name basically every player on the roster that played, and now you just kind of look back down. Okay, who is this guy? Who's that guy?
Like,
the names. You just got to pair them up with the numbers because you can look at a roster or a depth chart, but it's going to take. You have to see it with your own eyes to kind of visualize.
You just see the number, you go, great hit, Deontay, and you're like, oh wait, he's not here anymore. Great interception, JoJo. Oh, that's not JoJo anymore. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who that is. But okay, so back to O'Shawn Mathis real quick before we get to a break. So he's a pass rusher, right? He's a fantastic pass rusher. That's what they want. Why would he not go to a Ole Miss, where they're going to build gigantic leads. They're going to put up a bunch of points and they're going to force teams to pass on them. Why wouldn't he go to a USC where kind of the same thing is going to happen? They're going to put up a bunch of points. You're going to be facing quarterbacks who need to pass the ball. You're going to be able to get in there, get more sacks, or go to a Texas where hopefully, possibly with Steve Sarkisian, they're going to do the same thing. You're coming to a Nebraska team who hasn't put up a lot of points lately. They don't really get that many leads. And when they do get leads, they don't hold them for very long, and they're not very large leads. You're playing in the Big Ten where it's mostly a run-heavy conference. Why would O'Shawn Mathis choose Nebraska over those other schools?
Well, I think it certainly can be done. You just look at Aiden Hutchinson last year, where he's going to be a top 5 pick in the Big Ten. Similar type of idea where their offense isn't necessarily built to throw the ball over the floor or all over the field and get a big lead. So, I think that certainly there's something to be said about having, more attempts at rushing the passer, but maybe at the same time, he's maybe wants to improve other portions of his game to get ready for that next level. I think that's part of it. I think, but more than anything, you got to kind of think about the fit, and maybe more than anything, the NIL money. and maybe that will put Nebraska over the top. And I hope that they have some sort of package, not Nebraska specifically, as we always say,
obviously,
but some people around O'Shawn Mathis that will make him aware of what type of money. Because if I'm Nebraska, or I've always said this, it's impossible to do or very difficult to do. But if you had like a unified group that like put the money in the right place, because Nebraska's quarterbacks are more often than not going to get just a
buku bucks,
just crazy amounts of money. And I don't know if that's necessarily should be the case, right? If you could strategize, if you could run it like a GM in a front office, you might pay guys different things.
Yeah.
I think O'Shawn Mathis would be right near the top if you're talking about prospects that they need to get on campus.
Should O'Shawn Mathis be the highest paid player on Nebraska's football team? We'll discuss that next on One on One.
Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. You're listening to One on One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Windy conditions anticipated here for our Wednesday. We'll top out near 55. A wind advisory in effect as northwest winds could gust near 50 miles per hour. 36 the low tonight. 49 the high tomorrow. Still windy and even a chance of rain mixing with snow during the day. That's a check of your forecast. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Have you ever wanted to build a catapult? Have you ever wanted to launch something other than water balloons with a water balloon launcher? Do you want to be a national champion? Then you need to get a team and sign up for the National Avocado Launching Championship, May 21st in North Platte. That's right, the National Avocado Launching Championship is taking place right here in Nebraska. Launch avocados for fame and glory. Sign up at avocadolaunching.com. That is avocadolaunching.com. And remember, the top prize is $5,000.
Shopping for insurance can be a tedious and frustrating task, but the agents at Brokers Insurance Agency will do the work for you. They have partnered with over 20 of the best insurance carriers in the nation, which allows them to do the shopping all for you. Whether you're looking for business insurance or employee benefits for your company, or you're looking to save money on your home and auto insurance, Brokers Insurance Agency has the agents and solutions to help meet your goals. Call 402-420-5353 or email staff at brokersinsurancenE.com.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Adversity introduces a man or a woman to themselves. It's easy to say, oh, have a great day when things are good. But when life happens, as we all know, adversity hits, that's when we find out who we are. It's okay to be not okay.
Sometimes we can't see the help that's there because of whatever issue.
There's athletes that are talking about mental health and just well-being and burnout right now, because in the past 2 years, if COVID has showed us anything, it showed us the importance for connection.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Mike Schaefer here for Trek CBD. Springtime is here, and that means you're outside more in nice weather and maybe even having garage parties with neighbors. The drink of this spring and summer isn't your typical seltzer. It's drinkable Delta 8. Yep, Trek CBD has drinkable Delta 8 seltzers with mango and lime flavors for 4-packs and 12-packs, coming in a variety of mango, watermelon, lime, and berry. They also have hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups to put in your beverages, and as always, the excellent Delta 8 gummies. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
Now's the time to schedule your air conditioner service check with Bryant. Make sure it's ready to keep you cool and comfortable when you really need it. Now's the time to schedule your air conditioner service check with Bryant. Make sure it's ready to keep you cool and comfortable when you really need it. Call Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating, 467-1111.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Brats, check. Chips, check. Tickets. I love tailgating, but this year I actually wanted to be in the stadium. Season tickets just weren't in my budget. Then I found a way. A research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. I earned cash for the study and bought those season tickets. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
You're listening to One on One with DP, sponsored by Beatrice Bakery on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. One on one without DP right here on 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. Again, get in contact with us. Honda of Lincoln Hotline, Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Hit us up on the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. I'll throw your comment up on the screen. No matter what it says, that's a lie. Be nice, please. But right now, we're not going to talk about should O'Shawn Mathis be the highest paid player on Nebraska's football team, because that is a ridiculous question. Of course he should.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're going to hit up some basketball. Nebraska basketball hired Adam Howard out of South Alabama. He's more of a defensive-minded assistant coach coming out of South Alabama. Specializes in a pressure zone defense. So with him coming up, and he's filling that spot vacated by Matt Abdelmassi, who was more of a recruiting-minded assistant coach. What does this say about Nebraska basketball? Are they going to focus more on the defensive side of things? Is Fred Hoiberg going to go more of the defense to offense point of view, or is this just a move to bring in a guy to improve their defense? Are they really going to change what they do, or is this just something to help improve what they don't do very well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think they're going to still run Fred Hoiberg's system, which is take a lot of shots, more possessions, more points. But with more of an emphasis on the defensive side of the ball, which I think was really needed. And I know that they had Doc Sadler over the years, and he was supposed to be kind of their defensive specialist, but they even kind of took his position as far as an official assistant away and kind of created an own position for him last year. So he wasn't exactly, I guess, as far as the in the standing within the coaching staff, wasn't very high up there. Now Adam Howard will be the right-hand man of Hoiberg. So I like the fact that they're emphasizing it. It's something that clearly needs some work for Nebraska. And it could be something like he said the other day. He's trying to make the defense to a point and create the culture that the defense is going to travel. It's going to be there from game to game. It's something that you can have consistently. You're not always, you can be a great jump shooting team. You're not always going to hit all your jump shots. You're going to have days where it's just not going in. Your best players can't find it. But if you establish that culture defensively, that's in your control. It kind of is. It's up to you with your effort and what you're going to put forth to it. With the zone portion of it, Strick always emphasizes they're going to have to be much better rebounding too. Out of that is that it's going to have to be kind of a 5-man attack for the boards, and maybe just who knows, this year if you have Blaze Keita and Derek Walker at the 4, then automatically you'd think you'd be pretty good at rebounding.
A pretty solid rebounding team,
right? So I think that there's possibilities there. It's hard to imagine this team without knowing what the roster is going to look like completely, or how well the buy-in's going to work. So they still got a few things to do there, but I think that it's a solid hire. Some people maybe turned off a little bit about the South Alabama portion of it, but this is a guy that Hoiberg's kind of targeted or thought of for years now. If he ever had to make a move, and so he's ready to do it. And I hope that they are taking this very seriously, because I think that similar to football, plan A didn't work, and you've got to have another opportunity here, or you do have another opportunity here. So don't just run your head against the wall over and over and over again. Try something else, and this is what they're doing. It's similar to the football program, and I know some people don't like the comparisons, but it's pretty obvious here. It's a fresh coat of paint, and it's a new idea to try to steer this in the right direction. I don't have the most faith that the Frost or Hoiberg turnaround will happen. I have even less faith that both of them will. Just statistically, historically, they're both going to take some historic turnarounds on either side to get it done. But I do think it's a good step forward.
I think the hire is a pretty good. I don't know much about Adam Howard, really anything about Adam Howard.
Right.
But to me, in college basketball, the level doesn't really matter. Like if you're a good coach, you're going to be a good coach. If you're a good player, you're going to be a good player. Maybe you'll see some struggles, but overall, if you can play the game of basketball, you can play the game of basketball at almost any level, at least in college basketball. I know it's a different jump from collegiately to the professional levels, but for the most part, if you can play ball, you can play ball. So I think this is a pretty solid hire. Going in a different direction than they've had, bringing him in as an actual assistant. I know Doc Sadler was the defensive kind of guru, but he was like the special assistant associate coordinator to the head coach, whatever his official title was.
Yeah.
So bringing him in, another smart basketball mind, more of a defensive minded guy. You still don't know exactly what's going to happen with Trey McGowan's or Lat Mayen, and I know Trey McGowan's would be a massive bring back, especially I'm sure Adam Howard would love to have an on-ball defender like that he could throw out there. But in a pressure zone, like you said, that Strick said, rebounding in a zone is difficult because you're not on a man. So once the shot goes up, you have to find a body to get on to box out, because if you've watched any type of Syracuse basketball or as much Syracuse basketball as I have, the rebounding is annoying. It is frustrating. It is crazy because a shot goes up, somebody doesn't put a body on somebody, and there's a putback, or it's just a quick offensive rebound, kick out, and an easy three, because then they have to get back into their zone. It's going to really limit your leak out, your fast break opportunities. But if you can stop people from making shots, at least, you don't really need to worry about the fast breaks. You should be able to get down into your half court offense. The other team's not scoring, you'll be good to go. But I like the hire. I'll have to learn some more about him. But like I said, defensively is something that Nebraska basketball has been struggling with since Fred Hoiberg's been hired. They've been struggling on the offensive side of things as well. But if you can improve your defense, I think it'll go a long way, especially in the Big Ten Conference. So I like it. I just want to see, what else they bring in. If they bring in another special assistant, another assistant coach. I don't know if they have another spot as a full-time assistant.
Not as of now, I don't believe.
And then, what they do to fill out the rest of their roster, because they still have some open spots remaining. I'm excited, though.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And again, you have to go with some sort of specialty. If you're going to bring in another recruiter that's kind of hands-off in the program, this isn't the year for that. I mean, you need to win now. So I think that this is more of an on-court decision, and I think that's the direction they needed to go at that time. He still has connections. I don't want to sound like he doesn't know anybody or can't recruit or anything, but he's still got some connections. Just his strength is in defense. And again, if you are worried about the South Alabama thing, I wouldn't be too worried about it. Like you said, if you're coaching at the college basketball level, and even more so if a guy like Fred Hoiberg, who is just well known in all basketball circles, trusts in you to partially save his job, then I think that we can feel pretty good about that hire. But the basketball pro, I just am trying to figure out. I mean, if you had to ask me who next year's leading scorer would be, it's hard to. So there's no identity at all to this roster until they kind of fill it out and you can start to put it together. It might be just one of the new guys.
Have the ball in his hand the most, maybe if he's the starting point guard. I don't know. You got Sam Griesel coming in, and he's a point guard, so it's going to be a really tall team next year as well.
Yeah.
But something Markel on the text line, as we're going to start this out music with about a minute left. Markel on the text line said, I think he's trying to mold the defense to the personnel and allows players like Casey, a little undersized, to stay on the floor, especially if you're in a zone. He could play up top. He doesn't have to worry about manning up on somebody much bigger than him. He's going to stay up there, and he'll still be able to shut down some passing lanes and what have you. So that would be fantastic, because then you could use his offensive prowess. You won't have to worry about him being a liability on the defensive end.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, I think Casey does naturally work better in zones. So we'll see if that's, it could be on substitutions too, because keep in mind, Adam Howard, it's not just one zone. He's gonna run some man-to-man too.
Yep. All right. So that is going to be it for one-on-one. Thank you so much for joining me, Bach. Up next, the captain, Vershawn Jackson, live from Wingstop 28th and Superior. They've got $125 in gift cards that they're going to give away through the 3 hours. They have 5 $25 gift cards to give away during the show. Vershawn's going to choose how to do it. So get on down to Wingstop 28th and Superior. Join Vershawn as he's joined by Mike Kroll on the captain.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised